I think right now the macro view isn't the way forward. It's micro. It's all about the specific location in a city. So for me to call secondary shopping centres in the UK, which is a general theme in the UK right now, retail parks pretty much underloved in the last few years. That's a call. I think that's an opportunity to buy. But I think you have to look very, very micro right now. You have to look at every single asset in its own merits, its own catchment zone, its own competition, its own merchandising mix, and how people in that catchment zone are behaving. So I don't like making generic calls. We have 150 people doing retail investment around Europe to make sure we do micro calls. So in each market, we will look at the individual opportunities. There are some big themes. The big themes are pretty set in stone right now, and we've mentioned food and beverage, we've mentioned leisure, we've mentioned repositioning of assets. You need a story to sell an asset these days. You're not going to get yield shift. I probably disagree with Florencia. You're probably going to get it, but I'm an agent. I'd always say that. But it has to be about rental growth. It has to be about adding value. You've got to have a story to justify the initial yield that you're paying in today's market. Excuse me. So the initial yields are very strong, so you have to have something that drives the cash flow. And that has to be a repositioning, a re-merchandising, an extension story. So every asset that we're involved with, either buying or selling, we're looking for those stories. We're trying to highlight those opportunities.
I don't believe that Poland is completely saturated. There are opportunities. And it's not so much about niche markets. It's just looking at the type of product you have. And what we did when defining Stop Shop in more detail over the last years, we just said, what's the catchment area we need? What's the purchase power we need? And then, of course, you need to have a plot where you can materialize that idea. And at the moment, the main challenge is not to find the cities, it's to find the right plots where you can really have a sustainable retail mix also for the future. Because what we see, and the same is for the retail parks, this is not anymore a typical scheme just near the roundabout outside the city. It's moving closer and closer to the city centers, and it needs to move closer and closer. The amount of people that are walking actually to the retail parks and taking their bicycle even, it's still slow, it's still small, but it's increasing. And we have opened recently in Valjevo in Serbia, and I was surprised how many people are really coming and walk to that scheme. And that's a future trend, but makes it very difficult to find the right plots. So for us in Poland at the moment, it's more like it's not market, it's to find the right plots.
I mean, if you look also to the country levels, you see basically, for instance, the demographics being stagnant or even declining on national level. But when you zoom in detail, when you look to the regional level, you see actually the largest cities, often economically the most diverse cities. That's where you see the growth, where you see the population dynamics, where you also see the young professionals moving to. And I think those places are excited very exciting to consider.